Oh, climate change, the good old fear manipulating technique of the masses. It's so funny because actually, let's say 95% of the people are full of fears underneath in their subconscious. And when somebody comes with an agenda, who has an agenda, and of course, power is a great agenda for people who are power hungry. And so when they show up with this agenda thing, the masses jump on it because they're full of fears. And fear is really the greatest, in that sense, obstacle in of of consciousness, because it's like until you have fear, until you are triggerable, I mean, what can you do, right? Then until that, your subconscious is doing all of your destiny, handling your own destiny. And a lot of people are full of fears, so they can jump on this thing. I mean, I've seen on C-SPAN somebody who, I mean, I think she was a university student, and somebody was talking about climate change and oh, we have to do this and we have to do that, whatever. No, none of them knows anything. um, and then this girl said, "We have to eat babies if we want to stop this." And she heard it from her professor, and they were listening to morons with such tolerance. I mean, this was like, fuck, holy shit. I mean, one is stupider than the other, and they're coming out. No wonder, like a few months ago, I had this in my dream, that more and more people are coming towards me. They're crazy on the street. I was coming out to the street, and there were more and more people going crazy in that sense. They are crazy. I mean, this is how it works. And um, and it's amazing, how the masses can be really manipulated, distorted, distracted from themselves. So with certain agendas, they're really taking them taking them out of their own, in that sense, evolution, because they are so busy with the fucking nothing of life, which you cannot control. But they want to control stuff which is like uncontrollable. What the fuck do you want? I mean, and they don't get it, that with their arrogance to change the world, they're fucking it up even more and more and more. It's like, when people don't get it, that nature has its own cycles. And it's so funny because, like, I don't know who I heard, somebody told me that actually the coral reefs, whatever, somewhere, and they're affected by the climate change and this and that, whatever. Yes, that's natural cycle of nature, for fuck's sake. And you don't have to want to change it. But the small human, the human animal, who is not in its pure consciousness, think that they can change things, and they're doing all kinds of crap, and they're bringing in more crap and more crap and more crap. And I mean, it's like, fuck, you know. And so really, it's the world is going crazy in that sense. Yes, because they are people. And it's like nobody ever told you that, demons and monsters and stuff, they are humans. They are human animal with a lower level of consciousness, and that's it. And there is nothing you can do. The only way you can go and do is to heal yourself. And when you are really in your own, in that sense, in your own world, you're out of their world, you're really, it's like completely out of their world, and you are changing, you are really evolving when you're going into your next level and your next level. And it's like so funny to watch. We become the watchers, actually, in that sense. And you just watch them, and it's like, holy fuck, and they don't even know what they're doing or why they're doing it. But actually, of course, they are their own karma in that sense. And we all came here to really, um, some of us came here to um release ourselves from this recycling back to the old crap and really freeing yourself. And you're just becoming the watcher. You're just a watcher in this thing, and you just see how the human animal is doing this, that, whatever, blames, whatever. But anyway, it's very, very interesting to see how how they can control the masses in that sense, really, because they are fearful. And when any human animal who has, and of course they all have fear, because and they have all kinds of wounds, they have all kinds of mother and father wounds, and they did bring from previous lifetimes, they did bring all the other crap with them that they need to, in that sense, evolve and solve and understand themselves. But it's so funny how the masses are not really occupied with themselves. They are occupied with everything else outside of themselves. And so, but of course, that's their path, that's their road. Whatever they do is their stuff. It's interesting how we are, each and every one of us are on a different level of consciousness, and everything is true and untrue at the same time. Like, it's like, as I always said, and I wrote it earlier, different levels of consciousness have different levels of truths in that sense, which becomes obsolete once you are jumping onto the next level. And it's incredible to see, how many levels of consciousness, how many levels of uh, truths, which is like bad English, but exist in that sense, and all is a lie. It's so funny every time. It's like, and it's funny because, like, sometimes I dip back down to collective consciousness. That's when I'm in confusion. It's like all fucked up. And then when I come back up with clarity, it all comes to me. And it's like, this is like, it's like I'm going like collective and then back and whatever. And of course, we are all going back to our conditioned, false conditioned personas who are in the culmination of all of their past lifetimes. There are just so many things and so incredible, but it is amazing how how people are generally not thinking at all, because thinking is difficult. And they are just like they are driven by their own, in that sense, emotions, about their all kinds of stuff. It's like, and their fear is the number one manipulating factor. And and since this can be worked very well, because all those people who are, I don't know, I mean, it doesn't matter because I don't really give a flying fuck about these things, but it's just wondering, holy shit, how they can drive people nuts. But of course, humans are driving themselves nuts. They just don't see that. They just don't know because don't want to take responsibility for themselves, for their own choices. It's like, it's so funny how, like, everywhere, and they're clashing and fighting and whatever. Fanatism came up, in the collective consciousness. It's like huge stuff. It's like Islam, this, that, whatever, a lot of those things. And of course, climate change is an absolute ridiculous, because it is a normal cycle. But you know just because we who are in the evolution of consciousness, and which is like we're healing ourselves, um, we know that it's a normal regular cycle that repeats itself, once in a while. And but they don't know that, because they do not have the connection with themselves. They do not have the connection with their own source. They do not know their core self. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So their subconscious is in charge. Their subconscious is in charge. And it's funny because there are so many levels that we're going through. And It's like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Humans can be manipulated into anything because they have a conditioned heart that is conditioned to, and their conditioned mind. Both can be conditioned. And past lifetimes gave you such conditions. And many of us are getting rid of that condition. So we are becoming the watchers in that sense. But it's so funny how they can manipulate people, how like, whatever, I don't know, some people just want to make money, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I did not understand why I was like, I had a puke feeling, and everything that is not true for me, I get this huge puke feelings. It's like, oh my god, it's like I could vomit. And uh, and I had this with this Greta, whatever, who is the climate change new puppet little girly shit, and it's just so amazing, and then I've seen this with this eating babies and shit like this, and I thought, oh, that was a university student. Holy shit, that is the next generation. I mean, they become zombies. They're gonna legalize cannibalism. It's like holy crap. And if their professor said that, holy shit, and that is teaching people, oh my God, it's like there are like thousands of them, thousands of them. And it's funny because like a few years ago came in that sense, I received a message for myself, of course, but I don't know if that is a message for you or not because it was for me. So whatever, who resonates with that, it's on my level or on the vicinity of my consciousness. Who does not resonate with that, it's okay. You don't resonate with that. But anyway, it came like give man a set of rules, and then you create an ongoing war between his mind and between his heart, actually soul, whatever you want to um, name it. And this is exactly what is going on. It's actually, this is a, in that sense, in we are in a spiritual war. In that sense, we are in a spiritual evolution as a race, as a human race. But there are a lot of those who are living alive with their woundedness and never really healed their inner child. So they're like women child and man child out there in grown up bodies, but they're actually 5 years old or 7 years old or 10 years old or 12 years old whenever they got wounded. It doesn't matter if it was a sexual molestation or it was some kind of uh, abuse, physical abuse. So there's a lot of those wounded people, and instead of healing themselves, they want to change everything, and they fuck up even more, the world. So it's incredible, but they are the few who are becoming watchers, and in that sense, they're watching themselves and they're healing themselves, and that is the most sacred thing that you can do, really. But it's interesting um, how we are seeing what's out there, and at the same time we are in our microcosmos and there are out there the macrocosmos and all that. It's like amazing. The whole thing is just an amazing thing. Anyway, thanks. Just wanted to say this with the climate change scan, which is a natural occurrence. Thank you very much. Bye.